No.
Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear that now? All right, it is 6:32-ish, so I'll call this meeting to order. Can we start with a roll call?
Yes. Alex Colazzo, Brucey Cummings, Caleb Gunter,
Here.
Carrie Villeneuve, Charlie Lykoff,
Here.
Deborah Rosenbaum,
Here.
Greg Martin, Joanne Smith, Mariana Seiler, Mary Peliquin, Tangerine Moore, and Zilla Tarko. We have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, let's move to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. All right. Did everybody get a copy of the meeting minutes for February 23rd? And are the minutes for March 23rd even relevant, or because we never made quorum, or?
Yes, we had a meeting.
Okay, all right then. Did everybody get a copy of the meeting minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
And does anybody have anything to review?
I move to approve the February 23rd and March 23rd.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? None seen. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. None heard. We'll move forward. Should we welcome our newest board member first, or should we move to Carl? We have a new board member tonight, Zilla Tarko. Welcome, welcome. If you want to stand up and introduce yourself at all.
Welcome aboard.
Outstanding. We are a humorless board.
All right, Carl.
We didn't just do them together?
Did we do them together?
Did we do the 2 minutes together, or do we need to do a separate motion for that?
Separately.
Oh, boy. Sorry, Zilla, you'll have to wait and introduce yourself in a minute.
I've seen them done together.
Well, we'll just make sure we're good here. If anybody wants to,
Then I move to approve the February 23rd, 2022 minutes.
I thought we just did February 23rd. We need to do March.
Okay. Oh, it's,
March 23rd.
Well,
I'll
actually,
second it.
Caleb, we should probably do separate motions because that was a combined motion for both minutes.
So we have a retraction of the original motion's motion, and we will
Yes.
start over.
So
But
I'll retract my first motion, and I'll start all over. So now I move to approve the February 23rd, 2022 minutes, meeting minutes.
I second that motion.
Any discussion? None heard. Can we have a vote? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Any other motions regarding the minutes from March 23rd?
I move to approve the March 23rd 2022 minutes.
Any seconds?
I second that motion.
Any discussion? We have discussion for a meeting that did not make quorum.
Exactly. I have been marked absent for that meeting, but the meeting did not occur. I can't be absent from a meeting that did not occur. I hereby move to amend the minutes to reflect that I was not absent.
But you're the reason the meeting didn't occur.
Right.
I believe I was present.
I emailed
for the meeting that was here.
Do I have a sec? Are you marked absent? I move to amend the minutes to reflect that Brucey and I were not absent from a meeting that did not occur.
Do we have the city attorney present? Can we
just
call the
talked-
city
I
attorney
just
back?
talked to him in the parking lot. I should have told him to stay. Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, if I have to be absent, I have to, but I'm going to be out for July, which will put me at 3
The
absences.
problem is the reason why we couldn't go forward with the meeting is because you weren't here.
No, I emailed ahead of time. It was the people that didn't email ahead of time that weren't here. I think we're about to get an answer, though.
I also have
But
there is no such thing as excused absence, and there are members in the audience
Oh, Carrie,
here
come on.
tonight that were here also for that meeting.
I'm not saying it was excused. I'm saying
Back a second
the meeting
time.
Well,
didn't happen.
you know what, Caleb?
Anyhow.
Let him try to amend it and we'll just decline it.
All right, is that a motion to amend?
Yeah, good,
Yeah.
Can we
most-
get a second for your motion to amend?
good evening, Mr. Chair. This is Patricia Saintville Joseph. I'm the
We
Assistant
have the
City
city
Attorney
attorney. Awesome.
here. I apologize, I did not hear your questions, so I was asking Stephanie to clarify for me. Apparently, on March 23rd meeting, you did not have a quorum, so there was no business. I believe there was just department updates.
Correct.
So if that clarifies.
I
for
guess
the
the
board.
concern that's been raised is that they're marked absent, which would count against their number of attendances for not being present. However, because we never were able to make quorum and discuss business, they're saying they weren't absent for a meeting that didn't.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
But I would disagree that we did have a meeting,
I'm letting the
right?
city attorney make.
But we did
a-
not, we did the roll call, we did all the other stuff, the updates, but we couldn't do any business because we didn't have a quorum. We still had a meeting. In my mind,
I agree to that.
so.
I don't like the way this is going. All right.
I don't have a law degree, so I'm going to let those.
Nice try,
law
ni-
degrees
nice,
make
nice
the
try,
decision.
Gary.
I withdraw my
Just gonna be
motion.
logical, I'm sorry.
I withdraw my motion.
All right, so can we move forward with
Approval amendment.
we've had discussion, can we have a,
Mr. Chair, I'm just advising staff on an issue. Give me just 1 minute, please. Hold on.
If you get 4, you're out, but we're very early in the year. No, it starts in October. But still, I'm gonna be out for July.
Tangerine.
COVID is running rampant, you never know. And you can't attend virtually. Like, one of my absences is I literally had COVID. And so what am I supposed to do? I'm not allowed to come. I'm not allowed to attend virtually.
Oh,
What do
yeah.
you want me to do? Yeah, but erroneously, I'm already at 2. I'm not gonna be out in July.
Oh, Joanne's here.
To be fair, I thought it was a much quicker, simpler thing, where you guys would just be like agreed or disagreed. I didn't realize that was such a
Well, we left the can of worms.
Mr. Chair, I apologize. I was just trying to clarify, given that I was not present at the 23rd meeting, the March 23rd meeting, I'm just trying to get clarification from staff. Well, it appears that you had a non-quorum meeting, which, in my opinion, I just advise staff that the best thing would be, if you don't have a quorum, you wait until you give yourself some time to get a quorum to move forward. Because having a meeting without a quorum and counting that against the members, in my opinion, is not a good thing, because you can't conduct business without a quorum. So what exactly are you guys doing? I'm not sure.
Oh.
Right, the absence is still an absence, but I think the issue for staff, oh, okay.
Oh, getting a legal opinion here.
We have a lawyer speaking right there, so I,
Right,
And that's a lawyer speaking.
right, I understand, but the issue is whether we did properly conduct the meeting. That's the issue for me and staff. And since there is a public record that there was a meeting, so we're gonna have to move forward with that. But in terms of counting that absence against a non-quorum meeting, that's something that I'm going to take up to the city attorney.
I'm on appeal.
Yeah, sort of like an appeal, exactly. But we do have a public record. I mean, there are minutes, so we're going to go ahead and approve those, or deny if you wish. But there's an issue as to quorum. Thank you.
So post
To be determined.
discussion and pending further review, can we approve the minutes as they stand written currently?
What's the...
I would say no.
What am I doing here?
I think we,
Well, you would have to vote on it. I don't know. Was there a vote to approve? Okay.
Yes, there's a motion. Question is whether I can make because we have discussion, and that discussion came to this
Okay.
aid.
Okay. Well, was it seconded? Was the motion
Yes.
seconded? Okay. And you're having discussion?
right, we haven't had a vote yet.
But the discussion hasn't come with a determination.
Right. Well, you can either table this item until the next meeting, until I can get you a decision from the city attorney whether to count the gentleman's absence. I would recommend that we do that because, well, I'm not saying that your absence is not going to be counted. The issue that I have is I wasn't here and there was no quorum, so technically you shouldn't have had a meeting. That's my opinion. So you did have a meeting. We have a public record. Now I need to ask the city attorney whether you're going to count that against the members who were not present.
How about I withdraw my seconding of the motion? And nobody else second the motion, then it's a mute point till next month.
Okay.
Because Stephanie had just,
That work? Yeah, I mean, if we never have quorum again, then no one's ever absent and there's no concern. I mean,
Right.
I'm sorry, we missed and by the way, I will apologize to everyone. I missed the meeting also, okay? But we have to be shown that we were absent for that meeting and the meeting didn't occur. So I believe the minutes are correct and I would stand by the motion to approve the meetings. And I think we'll work with you in July and make sure it's all okay. So I stand by the motion, I stand by someone's motion to approve the February meetings. The second, I think you should make a vote to approve them.
I agree.
March.
March is, I apologize.
We'll have a vote.
There was no business conducted that would put anyone at risk for the fact that he wasn't here.
All those in
We didn't-
favor?
Well,
Aye.
sir, I'm not saying that you cannot take an action on the minutes. I'm simply saying that if you take an action or not, I will still get an opinion from the city
Right.
attorney as to whether if you do not have a quorum and you move forward with the meeting, whether that meeting is gonna, 1, count, and 2, count against any members who are absent.
It won't be the first time I'm wrong.
I really do
Thank you.
believe.
So let's
I
put it
do
to a
believe
vote.
that if we go with that thread, then we're gonna have an issue because people can just not show up. We won't have a quorum and nobody will be counted as an absentee.
Right, and I recognize that,
It's a problem.
I understand, but again, for clarification purposes and moving forward, what the guidelines should be, I need to get clarification from the city attorney.
I assume there's no risk if these minutes are not approved. There was no business that was approved or denied, so
Exactly.
let's just move on.
I think we table it for,
Okay.
It's 15 minutes. We can't get back on
I
our line.
withdraw your second.
I withdraw my seconding of the motion, sorry.
Vice Chair, would you like to withdraw your motion and we'll table it for a future
I'll
meeting?
withdraw it.
We'll table the approval of the March 23rd meeting minutes until future review. That going forward, welcome Zilla. Our traditional meetings do not start this way, but
Don't ever miss a meeting.
and with that, Carl, would you like to give us a department update?
I would love to. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. So I do have several things I want to share with the board. I will try to be brief. A few house cleaning items. As you all know, we're getting ready to enter into May, which is the month of our Great American Beach Party, which is May 28th from 11 a.m. to 6:30. Come on out. For most of you all know, but live entertainment, family, beach, activities, you name it, vendors, they're there. Absolutely. Sounds good.
Joanne, what's, oh, we'll, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Also, Mills Pond. As you all know, a couple years back, we installed some synthetic turf to our soccer fields. We are also just fresh starting on the football fields for synthetic turf. So, over the course of the next few months, you'll see some construction there to those fields in hopes that those fields will be done, I want to say by October. So, this summer, actually, because we have an event there. So, Mills Pond Park renovation of the synthetic turf fields. We are getting really close to getting our temporary certificate of occupancy for the aquatic center. There will be we're working on a ribbon cutting ceremony, which will take place likely the first week of June. More information will come out shortly, but the good news is that we are getting really close to being able to get that pool open.
You want to know what my question is?
Sure.
When are we getting in the water?
So, if we are able to get the temporary certificate of occupancy, we will be able to get, on a limited basis, some programs started the day after the ribbon cutting. So, for example, if the ribbon cutting is going to take place on June, I'm throwing out a date there, June 6th, we'll be able to open up on the 7th.
Okay, I have a serious question though. The city has known for 3 years that this pool's going to get open. We spent well over $40 million on this project, and it's going to be absolutely spectacular. And the swim team is just dying to get into the water. I mean, we're chomping at the bit to get in the water. My understanding is we don't have the lifeguards to support opening the facility on a full-time basis. And then knowing that we had all this time to be able to find lifeguards and staff the staff, not just that pool, but all the pools. I mean, I don't understand where we're struggling to keep that, just part-time lifeguards. What is the issue? Why can't we have that pool open the way it should be open on a regular basis? And my understanding is we're not going to be able to get lifeguards for maybe a couple of hours a day, and that's it. Here we've got a $40 million plus project, and we can't keep the doors open.
So that's partially correct. So, long story short, I would assume many of you all probably have heard some of our challenges with hiring lifeguards. Well, not even necessarily just lifeguards, but staff in general. And we've actually been at a shortage of lifeguards, at least for the past couple years. And we have our full-time lifeguards that have been engulfed into our community pools, and those guards will be going back to the aquatic center once it's open. Now, when you talk about a partial opening, because there's going to be construction, it's still going to be an active construction site, we're not going to be able to open fully up.
No,
But-
I know. I understand that we're going to be in the training pool, not the comp pool.
But we will need to control the hours, because once the Hall of Fame begins their renovations, there's going to be sections that we may have to work around, but we'll be able to have some programming there. We just can't commit to a full day.
So long as we can still get our 5:30, 6:45 a.m. and hopefully a 12 o'clock, maybe a 6:15. But the other thing that I have, speaking of the Hall of Fame, I'm hearing a lot of rumor that the Hall of Fame wants to infringe on the footprint of Flack, and I'm not quite sure why if they have that, why they feel that they have that they should be, have that ability to do that. That pool is ours. The taxpayers paid dear money for that for that renovation, and we should be able to have and maintain our entire footprint and not have the Hall of Fame take over some of our footprint.
You're correct. They have made note that they wanted some additional feet, but we have provided correspondence to them that they need to stay within their parameters.
Okay, so it's just rumor.
So I'm sure they're going to keep trying, but we've advised them that they need to stay in their footprint.
Okay, they should stay on their footprint.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Carl.
You're welcome.
Is there a hotel that's going to be built out on the water, or a restaurant? Someone was talking about at the end.
That's going to be part of the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame intends, that'll be on the west wing, because there's
Yeah.
going to be an east wing and a west wing, like there is right now. And the west wing is tended to have banquet halls, a restaurant, conference rooms. It's going
Is
to
that only for the Hall of Fame?
it just belongs to the Hall of Fame. It doesn't belong to, the property belongs to the city, but the Hall of Fame, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the building is going to belong to the Hall of Fame. It's just the property that belongs to us.
That's correct.
That's what I thought, because the Hall of Fame people, they've hired their own developer, and I've seen the conceptual design, and it is beautiful. I think it's too big, but it is beautiful.
So that they do have plans to build that.
They have a lease with the city.
Right.
So that west wing that's at the very end by the intercoastal, that's part of their footprint.
Yeah.
Okay. May 1st from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. is Jazz Brunch, first Sunday of every month. Also on May 1st, which will be our first event, we have Akasha Arubo. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. But for those of you who are in the tennis realm, Akasha is a very talented young tennis player. There's a Akasha Day, which is May 1st, which at Jimmy Everett Tennis Center from 2 to 6, we will be having that day, there'll be vendors out there, there'll be like exhibition, food, and hopefully a good time. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that to you all as well. Our normal scheduled meeting for May, as many of you all may know, is a combined meeting with budget, which is May 25th. Just as a reminder, the board doesn't have any speaking parts to that meeting. It's more so informational as far as the department's decision packages that we presented to the city manager and we are presenting to the Budget Advisory Board. With that said, I do want to share with you some of our requests, which are 3 from the general fund and 1 from enterprise fund. One of our decision packages is to expand and enhance the medium maintenance, which is the addition of 3 staff. These staff will oversee about 90 acres or so of medians, along with vacant lots, alleyways, fire stations, well fields, and railroad right-of-ways. Those positions are landscape inspector and a urban landscape designer. Our medians many of them are contracted out, and these positions will help us manage those areas to make sure that we are staying on top of contractors and having them beautify those medians throughout the city. Secondly, which kind of feeds into the discussion we had earlier, is we've had some challenges with hiring staff in all phases of our department. Lifeguard is one of them, and of that, we are requesting additional part-time salary so that we can offer a more competitive rate. And so through the budget process, we are requesting salary increases for some of our part-time positions that include recreation clerk, worker, recreation maintenance worker, custodian, lifeguard 1 and 2. Staying on the aquatic center, we're also requesting additional staff for the aquatic center, which includes 2 pool lifeguards full-time and a full-time custodian. With the expansion of the pools and the deeper deposits of the pool, we need individuals to help us manage that so that we stay in compliance and safety-wise and operational-wise. And so those are 3 positions we're looking to seek funding for.
You said operations. Did we lose Leo?
No.
Oh,
He's
okay.
here. No, he's good.
Carl,
Yes.
what is the basic salary for a lot of these positions, like a lifeguard?
So right now we are paying $17.49, but we're going to raise that so that we can fill out our positions for the summer. But I've done a little bit of homework with some of the surrounding cities, and they're making upwards of $18 to $22. And so for a lifeguard now, where historically we've paid $15 an hour, to be competitive in the Tri-County area, we're raising that amount. Same thing that would hold true to our clerks and some of our counselors. To be able to get within ratios of our summer camps, our play program, we have to pay more. Now, I mentioned those 3 positions from the general fund. The last one pertains to our cemetery division. I won't go into too much detail because we have quite a few things in our cemetery that we are in need of, but we are requesting a couple family service counselors, some maintenance-related positions, and some capital outlay for some items that we need to purchase to help us become more efficient and to clean our cemeteries. With that said, that is my department report.
Is there expected to be a lot of noise this weekend over the beach?
Yes.
Air and Sea Show.
That is correct. There is an Air and Sea show.
Carl, can I ask you another question?
Yes, of course.
Is there any, I know there's been thought, but is there anything that's going to actually be done about putting some canopy over the Solas Beach Park?
We have looked into that, and we're still trying to come up with a viable solution. At one point, we thought about just purchasing like a structure that would add on to some posts to give some shade, which would have to be more of a permanent thing. But the challenge with that is once you put that up, your visibility to the stage under the shell becomes compromised. So we're still into some discussions with that.
They have some beautiful art exhibits that have, all the different materials and stuff. Something. You get an art exhibit every single week and
You're right. There's not very much shade, so that's certainly something that we need.
got to have shade. I'd prefer trees, but since the city isn't into trees,
Right.
Carl, can I make a comment real quick? I think a lot of times people forget that the beach is actually the greatest park that our city has, and it has been under great strain as of lately. And I want to tell you, commend the department for keeping the beach in great shape. Between spring break, Tortuga, the Air and Sea Show, all the other programs that you guys are doing down there, the beach continues, in my opinion, to shine very bright for our city. And we think about the normal parks, but the beach is actually our largest park. And so congrats to the department for keeping it up to speed and maintaining all these great programs that we have. On the
Thank you.
beach.
Thank you.
Any other comments, discussions, questions for Carl? None heard. We will move to item number 2, which was pushed back from last month's non-existing meeting. I'm not sure. I know there was a lot of plans for public comment on that. Carl, you're the lead on that?
Yes. So, as part of your backup that you received, we received a request to rename one of our fields at Holiday Park. And as you know, last meeting we didn't have a quorum, and thank you all for coming back again. This meeting we do. So, with that said, I want to just advise the board to, if there is some public comment, you can take it away, Chair.
I think we're pretty excited about this.
Yeah, I've received a lot of phone calls regarding it, including some former commissioners and others that I've heard nothing but positive things about the Mr. Joyner and everything that he did for the city, not only there at Holiday Park in baseball-related items, but even in his neighborhood where he lived and other things. But definitely want to open it up for public comment, since obviously we pushed people back last month, and give them an opportunity for voice.
And as I can reiterate from last month, that I'm familiar with Bill Joyner. I was over at Holiday Park for many years coaching baseball, so he did a lot for the Holiday Park Little League, and then it turned over to Babe Ruth, and now it's back to Holiday Park Little League. But he did immense kind of things over there to rebuild Holiday Park when it was it gotten out of hand over there back in the probably early 2000s, when they redid all the fields and made it what it is today. So I think it would be a great thing to name a field after Bill Joyner.
Stephanie, do we have a list of
Yes.
people that want to speak? If you want to just start calling names, I guess. Thank you.
Bob Arrington, followed by John Wilkes and Grant Connis. Bob Arrington, please proceed to the podium.
The podium over here, and generally speaking, we keep comments at about 2 minutes.
I haven't done this before. Bob Arrington, I was glad to know Bill for a long, long time. And some of the remarks he just made are right on. There was a period of time I coached there with a good friend, Bob Henninger, who some of you might have known from Little League through Senior League. And Grant Connis back there, he was there that same time frame as a player, and with one of my sons too at the same time. But Bill did all kinds of stuff there. There was a period of time there you were afraid to let your kid go into a bathroom there. It was really bad. He's a great guy, died way too young. Please do this for him.
Thank you. John Wilkes.
John Wilkes, and I probably won't be that short, but I'll keep it as short as I can. Thank you for allowing us an opportunity to speak in support of this motion and this act. I, many years ago, sat where you sit now for about 9 years when we were starting Riverwalk, ending spring break, and recognizing the importance of parks and neighborhood preservation. I came in on the tail end. Bill Joyner also sat on this board for a period of time. But he didn't leave the parks and his commitment to it when he left this board. He just took over what was pretty decrepit area at the time. I mean, it was ignored. And other than Floyd Hull's program in the south part of our city, he provided an opportunity for many young children in central and northern part of our city to play baseball. And I'll tell you, if you knew Bill Joyner, and you'll see some people here tonight, everybody was a coach, everybody was a supporter, a patron. That's just what you did. You were recruited. He did the fields, he negotiated, he lobbied. He lobbied us when we were here, so we made sure that facility was turned around, and it was, from non-recreational uses to very positive recreational uses. So I not only support, I applaud the opportunity, so that we have the opportunity as a small token of our appreciation and thanks to people like this, because it makes our city a better place to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Grant Connis?
Good evening. My name is Grant Connis. Bill was my first coach at the age of 6. Introduced me to the world of sports. Served as a positive role model to myself and many of the other players that got to play and know Bill over the years. It was funny as a kid, from a kid's perspective, as a player's perspective, Bill always seemed to run the show. He had his van, he picked up all the kids and recruited all the kids and it was just great as a kid to see it. And we always knew he was the guy that was there doing positive things and running the show, but it wasn't until years later that I think we realized how much time, commitment, effort, resources that he put into the city and making it a better place over there at Holiday Park. So I, with many other friends, families, former players, coaches, fully support the city honoring the life and legacy of Bill Joyner. So thank you.
Thank you. That's it.
That's all speakers. Would the board like to potentially?
I'm going to move that we go ahead and name the park, how are we gonna name
The
this?
field. Field.
One of the fields.
The City of Fort Lauderdale Bill Joyner Baseball Field, is that what we're gonna be calling it? Okay, I move to rename the park, the City of Fort Lauderdale Bill Joyner Baseball Field.
I second that motion.
Any discussion?
I just wanted to thank those people that know him to bring him alive, for those of us who did not. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
One other thing.
I just want to support, I'm sorry, Bill was on the board when I worked for Parks and Rec back in the day before Holiday Park got redone. Mr. Wilkes was on that board as well. There's no question that everything that occurred in that park and in this city that had to do with baseball, and better yet, youth athletics, Bill Joyner was a major, major part of it. So this is a great tribute to him, and I see no reason to not make this happen. And once again, we will forever be grateful to what he did to the city. So
I was just going to add, I think Bill was a firm believer in rec baseball.
Yep.
Where any kid who wanted to play could play baseball. He found a way for that to happen. There's a lot of travel ball and all that stuff going on today, which might take away from recreational baseball, where every kid who wants to play, when you're playing rec ball, can play baseball. Travel ball's more unfortunately, for the elite players, and that's why they end up with Tommy John surgery at 14 years old. But going back to Bill believed that rec ball was for everybody and made it an attempt that any kid who wanted to play could play. That's it. I'm done.
I thought Carrie had something to say. No? So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Charlie did.
I think
We did
Joanna-
have a second. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
We're discussion. I guess we could move to a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Need a roll
I think
call.
we're gonna do a roll
I
call.
will do a roll
Roll
call.
call?
Yes.
Never mind.
Alex Colazzo. Brucey Cummings. Caleb Gunter.
Yes.
Carrie Villeneuve.
Yes.
Charlie Lykoff.
Most definitely.
Deborah Rosenbaum.
Yes.
Greg Martin.
Yes.
Joanne Smith. Mariana Seiler. Mary Peliquin. Tangerine Moore. And Zilla Tarko. It's approved.
Motion carries.
Thank
you
you
all
for
for
coming
Thank
to
you
see.
all for coming out tonight. And last month as well.
We apologize for last month.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Board comments. Any comments from the board? Any?
Carl, I just want to ask a question. Are we going to be able to see a presentation of what's happening with the Hyacinth Plaza? Only because that is going to involve Bouvier and Riverwalk Linear Park. I can't turn it. It's on. Okay, yeah, I just wonder if we're going to be able to see a presentation of what they're planning for Hyacinth Park, because they are asking to use Bouvier Park and they are asking to use Riverwalk Linear Park. Are we going to be able to see a presentation of that?
Yeah, allow me to look into that because I haven't been a part of that particular project, but I'll follow up with you on that.
Okay, thank you. They want the whole area. DDA. So I'd like to see a formal presentation of it. I keep missing it. I haven't got to see them all.
Carl, is there anything else going on with Colliers with any more land, or it seems like we haven't had anything for a couple of months?
No, so the company came out a couple meetings ago, and they basically were just saying they're still looking. They haven't been successful in finding properties that we should go after that financially make sense.
You
for
got
us.
reasonable price these days?
Right.
Carl,
Yes.
can you follow up with that? I did send him a couple of sites, particularly in that Lake Ridge area after all those conversations, and I thought there were a couple things that were close by, but see if
Okay,
there's any movement.
I can follow up on that.
Thanks.
I think is it Gore Beds Park that's in Citrus Isles, right?
Yes, Ninth Avenue, yes.
Do you know what the meetings are that take place there 3 nights a week? Like,
I do not.
so there are gatherings of 50 to 60 adult men mostly about 3 times a week. And I think it's the church across the street.
Oh, the Sunshine Cathedral, yeah.
But I get a lot of comments about it and why we're not maybe seeing what's going on there. So if we could look into that.
I will.
Thank you.
Weren't we donated a piece of property off of Ninth Avenue? On one of the corners?
Donated a property?
Yeah, didn't somebody leave it to the city of Fort Lauderdale for parks? Wasn't there?
Oh, that was
Citrus Isles, yes.
yes, and it's so you're talking about that property that we were gonna talk about at the last meeting, right? Yes.
Right.
So because it's already city property, we didn't really need for them to kind of move it to a park because it's already property of the city.
What are we gonna do with it?
It will be deemed a
Passive park?
like a natural recreational open space.
Okay, kind of like Riverland Preserve, just,
It's I'll need to look at, actually, let me see here.
The park actually, if you were on the bridge looking south, you could see part of it. It's
on the cold,
on
it's
the
at the,
Citrus Isles on the north side, about halfway down, a little bit further. Well, if you were standing on the,
on Davy Boulevard Bridge and you're looking southeast, I think it's towards the end of the cul-de-sac, I think. Yes, where Rio Nuevo is.
well, it's very nice. It should be a passive park.
I'm gonna take a look. Thank you.
Yeah, it's nice. Small.
Is it boat accessible? Because I imagine it's not going to really have much parking. It's like you're allowed to dock your boat there and go.
Yeah, there's I'm not aware of a dog being there.
Is it going to be is it going to be something that's accessible to people or just a passive, like if people ride, I assume it's not going to have much parking, like people are allowed to like walk there and ride their bike there. Okay. Okay.
Right,
I was
just the
curious.
neighboring area.
Okay. Yeah. Like a pocket park. Yeah.
I'll send the address out. I thought I had it in my notes, but I don't, just so you know exactly where the location is.
Since we're talking about those kind of parks, are they doing anything with Waverly? The one on Waverly that they bought and the one they did off of, over there by,
Nothing.
11th Avenue Bridge?
Nothing yet at this time.
No, just hanging out, okay.
And I ask, has anybody, have they given up on the Whidden property? I still want a couple of acres in there.
The which property?
Whidden, along 9th.
9th and Davy.
Davy Boulevard.
Until we get closer to their price, I don't see that.
Well, I don't know.
They've mentioned it, like, I've been asked about it outside of this capacity, if the city's been considering it, and they want more money, so.
Right, and that's the challenge that Colliers is facing now.
What are
Several
they
properties.
asking for that acre of pine trees?
I don't have that dollar amount.
But they,
Find out, please.
but Brucey, they don't want to subdivide it. They want to develop the whole parcel.
Well,
I mean, come on.
we had a lot of discussions with them, and they were willing to give us a couple of acres in
Really?
there
Okay.
in lieu of neighborhood support for their
What if we
project.
bought all of it and then sold the rest to a developer and we would make money?
Wow, that's such a novel idea.
There you go, Mary Ann.
In a few months, it'll be worth twice the amount that they want now. 13, I believe.
I know it's more than 10.
It's 13. I believe.
13?
We could be making money over here.
Yeah, seriously, why would we do that?
Would you guys like to
We
make
have
that
the
a
money, why would we-
communication to the commission?
Right.
So?
We're in the business to lose money.
You know what, though, I do think if we look at this for a really long-term perspective, and Carrie, you were talking about one time about, skateboard parks on tops of roofs. I mean, it doesn't have to be vacant land. We could buy an existing property, an existing building, and let the lease burn out on it and know that we're gonna get it in 5 years. But I think we need to look at that type of long scenario. And so be creative. I've tried to look at it with a different eye. It doesn't have to just be a vacant piece of dirt. It can be something that we can knock down 10, 15 years from now and add to the park, so.
I think that's a great idea. And especially, we so often take our green parks and build so much hardscape into them to meet demand for, various activities, like we do with pickleball, which I love pickleball, but in general, we do take our green spaces and hardscape them. Like Greg's saying, we can buy things that are already hardscaped, and I never even thought of that. Like let the lease run out, or buy something and then just turn it into our own hardscape thing. Pickleball courts, skate parks. There's a lot of recreational activities that don't require green space, and we can stop converting so much of our green space into concrete.
For example,
Well, I was just going to say there's a piece, the Broward County files, or what are they? They've got these huge warehouses along the railroad track in Tarpon River.
The archive section.
The archive section, correct. Well, the developer wants to buy that from Broward County. How about if we do? Or maybe we do a partnership with Broward County and the city and take those and make that into a park instead of letting them build 30 stories.
What I could do is at our next meeting, I could invite Colliers to come out and maybe have them
Yeah,
have
let's
that
do that.
conversation.
That'd be a good idea.
Ken will come, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I plan on sending them a couple of things. I know Mr. Martin here had some follow-up, and I'll do that along with this.
And you said next month was a budget meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Is that one where we don't attend?
It's a joint budget.
Right.
We won't have any discussion, so it'll be the following one. It'd be after the May.
So is it
We used to
required
have our
attendance
own
next
real
month?
estate
Yes.
department.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Very good job of things like this. We've given everything to the private sector.
Any other?
Can't even hire lifeguards.
Things are really going downhill with the city, huh?
Right now, we can't pass board meeting minutes, so.
If you want to play, you got to pay, right? You got to pay a
Hard to
right.
throw stones right now.
The people that you want for the job.
So I have a question. So AECOM is working on the Holiday Park plan. It's my understanding that because of the signature project, it goes to the commission. Will we have any sort of presentation, say in it, feedback? I understand it'll be up to the commission to approve, but everything that we do is up to the commission to approve. Will we have any sort of opportunity to provide our expert guidance and feedback?
So when it's presented to commission, you can always give comment then, but just the way the bond was written is that those 4 projects will be determined by commission directly.
Well, yeah, and I'm not asking if we get to determine anything, but we are an advisory board that, how many times tonight have we heard people saying, people in the community are talking about this, people in the community are talking to me about that. Like, we are getting feedback from the community nonstop. We're thinking about parks all the time. We're hearing about parks. We are a board of parks people. AECOM, they're very qualified at what they do, but they don't know Fort Lauderdale like we know Fort Lauderdale. You see this in some of the designs sometimes, like someone comes in and designs something, but they don't have the feel for local needs. I would think that we would still be a useful body to just provide feedback as to the plan. I understand it wouldn't be our place to approve it, but simply, we're hearing about it from neighbors. They're talking to us. They're expecting us to pass their feedback along. I'm just talking about a purely advisory function to say, hey, how are you guys doing? What's it looking like? Have you thought about this? This is the stuff we're hearing from the community. Just as a pure, I get, to me, the only downside of that would simply be just the cost of having someone from AECOM come out here. I certainly understand that we wouldn't even be voting on anything. We would just be providing feedback. So many people are coming to us, at least for, Holiday Park, and we're hearing about it. And I think there's an expectation that we are passing that along to somebody.
Sure. So what I could do is I'll inquire. Even when it does go to commission, I can inform the board so that you have that information and you can share comments at that time as well.
Yeah, let's be realistic. When something goes to commission, it's done, right? It's done. There isn't.
Harry, what do you think? What are you talking about in particular?
I'm talking about the plan for Holiday Park.
Yeah, what?
I'm saying once it goes to commission, the commission's not going to sit there and say, oh, I really think that the path should really loop more over here, or this, they should have more of, the commission's just going to vote up or down, like, yes, this is good, And so in terms of getting like actual neighborhood feedback from park users, and I understand that the VPCA has weighed in on some aspects of it, but only as to certain aspects, and certainly never seen any sort of final draw up. I'm talking about building a park that reflects the community's needs and desires and uses for a diversity of types of park users and all of that. And when it goes to commission, they're just voting up or down. Yes, we approve, we don't approve. And all I'm talking about is just an opportunity for them to come in here and us just be able to say, hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? For example, the original plan had the play recreational areas in what is now the large grass parking lot. I understand those areas were moved more to the inside of the park, and now that area that's the grass parking lot will be more of a passive use area. I think that we should have a discussion about how to optimize that passive area in terms of trees, in terms of grass that people can actually like have a picnic on, as opposed to just like the rocky area. And I'm not saying that AECOM's not thinking about those things. I don't know what they're thinking about. I don't know how they envision that being used. I don't know I don't know, right? Because we're not hearing that they had some level of feedback about just the geographic arrangement of the park. That is it.
No,
And I'm just saying
Yeah,
that I think that we have feedback about we have feedback about what the park could look like, how they're doing, and just hearing, okay, this is where we're at, these are the things we're thinking about, and giving us an opportunity to provide that feedback, because the commission's not going to get into that level of detail. And as stewards of the bond, I think that, we owe it to people to make sure that Holiday Park is beautiful when it comes out. And it can't just be that it's like, well, the Victoria Park Civic Association provided feedback about the layout, then it went to a consultant, then the commission approved it. Like, I think people are expecting more of us than that.
I hear what you're saying, but just to kind of clear the table, commission is the one that kind of laid the groundwork for that. The board is the pass through for all projects with the exception of the 4 signatures. So I understand where you're coming from.
I am not talking about us clearing it or approving it or anything. I'm just talking about us using our expertise in terms of what we know about parks and experiencing parks and the feedback we all receive to ensure that the thing that does go to the city is as good as it can be, and that it's a collaborative effort between the representatives of the many neighborhoods and the many communities with the consultant, and not something that the consultant just went and drew up.
No, I understand. I'm just kind of just advising you of what our role is, like as staff. So
I am officially requesting that AECOM come present to us at least a month before they go to commission, that they come present to us at a time when there is still an opportunity for feedback. I've been through so many of these projects where by the time you're allowed to say something, the only response you will get is, to try to make changes now would cost a fortune. We've already designed it. The architect's already drawn it up. All this is drawn up. But that's the first opportunity you get to weigh in, right? That's the way it's always done. The first opportunity, you get shown beautiful schematics, then it goes to the architects and the engineers, and they draw everything up, and then they come present it, and then when you give any feedback, you're told, oh, it's too late. And I would like to avoid that for a park that is supposed to be, people always talk about it's our central park and all those things. It needs some significant changes to reflect the growing different needs. I mean, for a long time, it's just been just a sports venue. It needs to move beyond just being a sports venue. It needs to have a more diversity of uses to cater to a more diverse downtown when you have, people looking for different types of needs of the park. I mean, for example, everyone hates the dog park, right? Is AECOM going to, by themselves, decide how to fix the dog park problem? I think that there's a lot of issues like that where we could provide valuable feedback, and I'd like the opportunity to provide it before everything is set in stone, and any suggestions are simply met with it's too late.
Understood. Only thing I can share with you is that I will advise AECOM and Phil and see how we want to proceed. But again, it's 4 signature projects that is not coming to the board.
Carl,
I just want to be clear.
Why have we not heard that before? Or am I just? I've never heard that we will not be asked for any advice on these 4 signature things that are primary for the bond money.
So
I don't get that.
So let me kind of also provide some context. So in February of 21, there was an engagement period month where the general public was able to weigh in on a variety of parks and projects throughout the city. Then we also visited with the homeowners associations of those neighborhoods to gather the feedback that we received from the engagement piece, and also reiterate some of the items that were mentioned during that particular period. And so moving forward, those particular parks, which is Carter Park, the stadium, Holiday Park, and the Tunnel Top project, those are the signature parks that were approved through the bond that kind of helped move that forward, which was mentioned in that summary that those projects would come before the board that would be commission priority items. And so as part of their signature areas in each district. So all other projects were planned to come before the board, but
Before
those
the board, I mean, the tunnel has certainly come before the board. But Holiday
Came before the
Park-
board when they wanted more money, but apparently they don't. They don't want our opinion.
They came
Just
to
more
us
money.
not the
for
not the
additional
design.
dollars. That's why it came.
Right.
Oh, right, well,
Those four. Yeah, those four projects are out of our realm of responsibility.
That is correct.
Hate to say that like that, but that's the honest to God's truth.
Right.
and was everybody aware of this?
Yeah,
Yes. That was
those were hands off unless it needed some funds, and that's what we did with Tunnel Top.
That's correct.
And they got it, and they're
Yeah, and
a mess of downtown. Right.
Just because we've asked to see a presentation. We've had that happen before as well.
right.
So if we could see that presentation before it was really appreciated.
Just
Yes.
as a pure FYI.
well, I'd like to provide them some feedback and have them say, "Oh, okay."
That's why we're not going to see it.
We'll consider that feedback.
When aren't you going to be?
At this time,
Yeah, put them down for July.
prohibitive to change. But we could look at it. That'd be great.
Yeah, I promise not to say anything. I'll just look. That's perfect.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Any other board comments?
I get one more. Since we're on the topic of parks, whatever happened to DC Alexander?
Yes.
I mean, we spent all that money, all that design, and haven't heard a thing in seems like about 2 years.
I think it's been tabled.
Yeah, why? Because we spent a lot of money and time on it.
It has been tabled. I had a brief conversation with the project manager this morning, but
The reason it's been tabled is because you use the land for the parks. Keep
Well-
your trucks and everything there.
I'll be able to give a better update at our next meeting because there's things that are happening. I just don't know where we stand with them.
Okay, all right, just wondered, because it was
I think
pretty
part
nice.
of part of it is that some of the funding, correct me if I'm not mistaken, Carl, some of the funding went to FLAC and came out of DC Alexander.
Yeah.
I do know that some funding was moved around. I'm not sure about FLAC though, but I
Maybe
do
it
know
was,
that it was.
maybe it was the dive tower then.
Perhaps.
Okay, just wondered. I remember it was a great presentation and kind of fell off the radar.
All have seen all the trucks
Carl,
parked there.
didn't we have some CRA funds from the beach for DC Alexander? Thought I remembered that.
Right.
There were
Now
CRA.
they're in Sunshine,
Jo-
so is it all gone? The money's
Joanne, there were the funds, we did get funds from CRA, but I think that's what I was just saying,
gone? Right.
mentioning, that they got
They
they got
diverted it
repositioned somewhere else. Or reallocated somewhere.
No other comments heard. Any communications to the commission? Do we have? Please.
If I may, I just consulted with the senior city attorney, and I'd like to give you more guidance on my
Please.
opinion. Okay, so there are several issues. One is whether we should count a member's absence, and the answer is yes. Two, when a meeting is held without a quorum, whether, one, you should have minutes, or you should conduct any business. And two, of course, if you do conduct business, any business, whether it's city business or just department reports, what if that is a proper meeting? Okay, so one, if there is no quorum, the best thing to do is to try to seek a quorum. If you cannot gain a quorum, then you need to really adjourn the meeting and schedule the next meeting so that you can, when you do have a quorum, you move forward with a meeting. Now, given that you did have a meeting on the 23rd, for sunshine law purposes, you do have a set of meetings, so we're going to go ahead and either approve, however you want to proceed with that. You can go ahead and move to either approve or deny or amend those minutes. But in the future, I do recommend that if you do not have a quorum, you adjourn the meeting and you schedule the next meeting.
Perfect. Correct.
Yes. Excuse me?
What is worse, to be absent or to go forward with a non-quorum meeting? I'm just
not-
joking because you guys are
Oh,
like saying that we're
okay.
absent. I'm like, yeah, I was absent, but you guys held an illegal meeting.
No, well, we're not gonna call it an illegal meeting.
We didn't do
We're-
any business.
Yes,
We didn't do
you,
I mean, but
right, and I understand
because you want to
from-
wait for a quorum to get there, like someone
I-
could be 5 minutes late. Yeah.
I
No, but we-
understand from Stephanie that there was no city business. You simply heard department reports and updates. So there was really no city business. You didn't take any action. However, we do have a gathering. It was properly advertised. And so we do have a set of minutes. You can go ahead and move to approve, amend.
Then I go ahead and move that the March 23rd, 2020 meeting minutes.
I think I'll second that motion again.
We have a motion and a second of business that is no longer relevant on this meeting item, but we'll continue.
You didn't adjourn yet.
Any
We have to have a
any
vote, don't we?
discussion other than the voluminous discussion we've already had and legal opinion? None heard. Can we have a vote? All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes of the meeting that did not? No.
Oh, okay.
No, this is
Okay.
just a single vote.
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
No, we got a legal opinion. I will abide by the legal opinion.
We can't vote anyway, we weren't there.
None heard. The motion carries. Last motion, since we have no communication to the commission, is
Make a motion to adjourn.
Ooh, that was quick. Any seconds?
Greg, you did it.
Any seconds? We got a second. All those in favor? Done.
Aye.